Hey yo. 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 Hey yo.
All right, for a minute there, I thought we lost it. Whoa!
Hey yo.
CG.
Mr. Tommy.
Hey, Phil, how's it going?
What's up?
Where have we been?
Where have we been?
Yeah, where have we been?
I've been
People been craving us.
I've been around, you know. What I like to say is if we're around too much, then no one's gonna miss us, you know?
I said we should test that theory.
We should
I'm ready
test
to go. I'm ready to go every day this week.
every day.
Dude, the kid's back. Kid's on fire.
You gonna bring it back, man? Well, I got work the rest of the week.
Oh, that's okay. Just give me your login. I'll take care of it.
All right, we'll do that. What's up, everybody? Hail the chat.
Yeah, let me turn
I haven't
the chat
tweeted
on.
this out yet. I'll do that. But before we tweet out, we got to say hi to the people in the chat, Tommy. We got Rand in the chat. It says, hey, yo. What's up?
Rand Corporation.
Jay
That's
Ryan.
a government contractor right there.
Is it?
I don't know. I made it up.
Jay Ryan SHADOWPUNK, you say. That's right. We'll be talking about some SHADOWPUNK today. He's waiting in the wings. Sumo is here. One of the lucky backers who just grabbed one of the new sketch cards on the campaign. Thank you so much. Those went out in seconds. I put those up, Tommy, 3 of them. And within seconds, there's already people backing them.
The 3 I agreed to do?
It's amazing. Yes. No, not yet. These were
okay.
Dan Dahl's Booty Juice. They were juicy.
I finally met Dan Dahl this weekend.
How was that?
Nice guy. I like him.
Yeah, he's a cool cat. He's one of the good ones, as I like to call him. Just like you, Tommy.
Oh, yo, you shits.
Dan's the long lost Diaz brother. He's the third Diaz brother. Let me see. I'm trying to find this Dan Dahl. Dirty Dog. All right, check these out. Did you see these yet? They're gone, people, so don't get any ideas.
Well, they're not gone. These people could hunt down who bought them, whoop their ass, and take them from them.
That's true. That's true. So
but don't do that. We're not a hate group.
Let's see. We got Shelby Robertson in the chat. American Discord. He was eating, I think, some enchiladas this morning for breakfast.
I've been there. Nothing wrong with that.
That's what he said. Nolan Lockhart in the chat. Infinity is here as well. We're gonna bring the man in himself, and I do have a couple. I got some packages in the mail which I wanted to unbox on stream before we deep dive in here. But I'm gonna bring SHADOWPUNK in, and we're gonna talk about this awesome book. And Tommy, you're gonna sketch.
I am. I'm constructing it right now. I'm trying
SHADOWPUNK.
to see it.
And here he is, the man that doesn't need an interview. But let's see. Let's see if we have an interview for him. Here we go. SHADOWPUNK, what's up? You're muted, brother. I think.
There we go.
There you go.
But you knew what I meant, right?
Yeah, you said what's up.
Right.
That's what you meant, I think.
Right. Yeah, you said the Rand Corporation before. You know, let's not confuse that with the Bland Corporation, right?
Yeah.
No. Your book looks good. I was looking at the campaign before we got on. I'm gonna slot it in the top 10 campaigns that I've seen as far as art goes.
Oh, cool. Thanks, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that I made up my mind on that just now, but
It's good.
But that's your like
Brilliant.
initial reaction.
yeah.
That's pretty fucking cool. I'll take it, man. I mean,
Makes
that's,
me want some of those old school 3D glasses too, ones with the blue and the red.
you know, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's right.
You know, the Bland Corporation is a line from Doctor Strangelove.
Oh man, that movie. You know, I don't know if you know this, but I'm 28 years old. I never seen no Doctor Strangelove. You know?
Oh, really?
Never seen it.
So at one point they're fighting in the Pentagon in the war room. These two guys are fighting in the room, and the president runs up and says, "You can't fight in the war room." Right? It's just these fucking people are going crazy.
Yeah.
And they're gonna blow up. They're actually blow up the world. It's worth watching, man. You'll like it. It's like a dark humor, but there's like a lot of too much truth in it.
Cooper
Yeah,
Paulson,
I've
right?
heard good things.
So are you're drawing Shadowpunk or no?
Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
Dude, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, so we started this a few months ago. Tommy and I. Tommy, he drew the story that I wrote for Mark Polton and John Malin for Graveyard Chips, which is shipping right now. I actually just got my notification, Tommy, that it's on its way to me.
That's
Oh,
cool.
yeah?
The one that I purchased. So people should be getting the supplemental book and the main book. Tommy and I worked on the supplemental 48-page one shot. And so, you know, the kid and I hit it off. I wanted him to move to the forefront of CG. So we started this little show where he comes on and we talk about campaigns. He draws a little sketch of their character that we talk about.
I mean, it's a little like surreal. It's like seeing your name in lights, right?
Hmm.
It's like, oh wow, this is like I didn't plan for this moment, you know, because I got my shirts are going out. I made my Shadowpunk t-shirts and people are wearing them, and that's super cool. It's like a big deal, man.
Yeah, I saw that. Someone was wearing their Shadowpunk shirt. That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah.
The shipping on that is
From nothing to something. World creators. That's what we do.
That's exactly it right there. You summed it up pretty good. You know,
Exactly.
people that aren't artists, that's like, oh yeah, they do that all the time. Something from nothing. But then you're like, no, it's actually more challenging than you think, right?
Yep, a lot.
And by the way, that's our job, is to make it seem easy, I suppose.
Exactly. Now, before we get into this, Tommy's sketching. I did get some packages to do a little mail call. I hope you guys don't mind. We'll be on for an hour or so while he's drawing. I got my new knife that I'm going to be opening this box with.
That's a knife.
The knife, Cold Steel Espada.
That makes my knife look pretty puny.
It's okay.
You know, I mean, if I go like this, it looks bigger, but
That's true.
you know.
This is a knife.
This is my knife right here. Okay.
That's your chopping hand?
Yeah.
All right. Now, this is from one Matt. Now, you know this guy, Matthew Fowler, Shadowpunk.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, look at this. I got a lot of stuff going on here. Wow. I got the Game Boy box.
Sweet.
Tiger Blue. It's my phone. Tiger Blue came in, which I got. This is the second package. I just read the book last week, and I really enjoyed it. Really
So I did too. I loved it. I thought it was just so well done.
some sticker, Joe Ball art sticker back there, 6 a.m. comic sticker. A lot of trading cards, which I'm really excited about. And I got to get my hands on the Sega version of this too, because they have the Sega Genesis one. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Everybody sign up for number 2 because it's going to be, I'm sure, just as kick-ass. I've actually read some of the scripting for number 2 and seen some of the pages, and they look awesome. So definitely.
You know, what's really cool about that video game is that one day that thing could be made into a movie, Tiger Blue, or something big, right? And that video game you got there is going to be worth a shitload of money.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know how the world works, you know. It's crazier things have happened.
Right. You look at the amount of IPs and characters and creativity coming out of CG. There's bound to be something that's made into an animation,
Yep.
movie, because after they're done cultivating, or reaping all of the mainstream stuff, there's going to be nothing left. They're going to come squawking at us, or we'll do it ourselves.
When I saw you on Mandy show, I was like, it kind of hit me how creative. Because if you work in a big company, you have to run ideas past a bunch of people, right? It's crazy. Yeah. So, but the CG, people are just coming up, like, you guys have all these great ideas, and they're just like, yeah, we'll do this, And by the way, it's done. It's done right there, right? Yeah. That's the power of individual entrepreneurs, right? And CG has that. We can come up with anything we want and see if people like it. And if it doesn't, do the next idea. Stickers or whatever, or it's cool stuff.
And even statues, which is, we'll get into that because you do a lot of 3D work, which is awesome.
Right. So yeah, since I talked to you guys, I've been like really like waiting for my new printer to show up now. I'm like chomping at the bit.
Yeah.
So it's a 10-inch screen. It's an 8K screen.
Uh-huh.
And so my hope is to build really big figures and sell them. I'm hoping actually that it prints faster too.
Yeah.
Let's hope. It's like the time factor is a big one.
For sure.
What program are you primarily using
for the printing?
No. For
sculpting,
the 3D stuff.
Oh, I'm using 3ds Max, and then I'm using Mudbox.
Okay.
Yeah. But you could do it all in ZBrush, I suppose, if you were so inclined. Mm-hmm. I think ZBrush is really cool because I think you can create geometry from ZBrush. They have, you don't have to go into another system like Max, build it, and then import it into your program. Yeah. And that, I know that sounds simple, but that's actually like a big bump. Like when you're working,
ZBrush is like basically like using clay. Like you could start with a ball and add to that form and cut into it and stuff like that. I've seen people use it a lot. I played around with it a little bit as well.
ZBrush is pretty good at that because one of the problems is as you stretch a shape, normally the vertices get all chunky and whacked out, right? But ZBrush came up with a way where when you warp it, add clay on it, then it just adds to the shape and everything's symmetrically built. Mm-hmm. So, these people fucking think of everything. And it's so cool that's true,
It's straight up, ZBrush is straight up voodoo the way it works.
Yeah. It is, man. And as long as it's intuitive for the artist, that is the key, right? You got to have the tools, but you also have to make it so that you tap into, make it easy for the artist to do whatever they want, Because other than that, then you're stumbling through the technical aspects. And then, who wants that, right?
Exactly.
Nobody.
We got Richie in the chat. He says, Hail Comics, hail and bananas to all.
That's got to be it.
Rich, as rich.
Speaking of bananas, this is the second book I got today, Battle Brick Road. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Been waiting for that for forever, Eric, but I'm glad it's finally out.
That was cool.
Kenneth Rocafort cover. Excited to dive into that. And you got patches and cards and all that, bookmarks, stickers.
What, you got a patch?
Yeah, he did a patch. Oh,
that's cool, man. I thought about doing that. I don't know if they're expensive though.
Yeah, I'm not sure. No idea.
Can we request a song? When you put "we" before request, it makes it very hard to say.
We request.
We request.
Yeah, because you got that little microphone there. I thought it was a vape pen, or is it a knife? What is that?
That's my knife.
Oh, I thought it was. Oh no.
Whoosh.
Where's the microphone? Oh yeah, that one. That's the microphone.
It's all I need to survive is the microphone and the knife. That's it.
Who did the music on your trailer?
I bought it off of what's that? Pond 5. which is like a music. They sell all types of things, but it took me a long time to find it. But the thing I like about it is that there's a couple change ups in the audio, and then that way when it kicks in, you feel the person watching goes, they feel that change. One of the things I have noticed about a lot of trailers that they don't have that. They don't have change-ups that often, and I think it's fun for the viewer to have a musical kick halfway through or for a couple. It's a small thing, but I always think it's effective.
Yeah,
I'm always last minute before we get on here. I got to start prepping ahead of time, and it would have been cool for me to jam the guitar part of that riff as we started the show. That would have been hilarious.
That would be nice. I mean, but it's not absolutely necessary, right? You can still do it without cranking out or getting your jam on.
Yeah. You got some fans in the chat here. Nailball says, I believe in a thing called knife. Just listen to the rhythm of my stab.
That's the darkness.
That's what Michael Myers tells you. Well,
that is the darkness. That is the darkness. I'm gonna sing that song at karaoke this Friday.
Can you hit those high notes, bro?
Oh yeah.
I got a job for you, buddy.
I hit those high notes. I just got to use some rubber bands to get there.
Ouch.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at this trailer before we get into the pitch. Let's do it. Boosh. That was awesome.
Thanks, man. It's a lot of fun to make. Sitting around making stuff like that all day is not a horrible life.
How long did it take you?
About 6 months, maybe a little bit longer. It's a ton of work. There's no question about it. I mean, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Yeah, it's you can kind of make anything when you're doing like an open trailer. But I did want to kind of like keep it within the realm of the world I was making, and I hadn't made the book yet or made even the animated movie. So I was at this point. I was like, "What the hell is this world about?" I have no freaking idea. Like I shouldn't say that. I don't know the details, right? I knew the broad strokes.
Yeah.
But a part of the thing is kind of just do it and then say, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to add that, right? It's that kind of a process where, making mistakes is great or coming up with bad ideas is great because you can kick those out, and know what you don't want to do. Like I didn't want space aliens, right? That's not going to fly in this world.
Yeah.
But I did want a dark, what's the right word? Like more than real, right? This is not there's more shit going on in this world than just people. There's a lot of dark forces going on. So, what do those things look like,
Talk about them dark arts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think people like that. I know I do. I like to get into like whatever the thing is. I like even Road Warrior, right? This is more than Road Warrior. This is Road Warrior plus crazy shit, right? There's a lot to say for Road Warrior, right?
Yeah.
But I wanted there is a dimension to the world that's more than just real, dark forces and things like that. Yeah, so
just looking at it, it's already like insane. Like the world that you're setting up on the surface here.
Looks fleshed out totally. You can
Yeah.
look at 2 or 3 pages and be like, all right, this is done. Now it may not be, but you pulled it off.
And the animation style really reflects your art style too. I think that was really good. Of course, it should. But the animation reminded me of like, I don't know, maybe like, the closest thing I could think of is and like the facial styles too is maybe like some 3D animation cartoons
I like
from
that middle
Nickelodeon.
panel right there.
Yeah.
That's
That's awesome.
Cool.
What
are you coloring with? Photoshop or Clip or what?
Yeah, Photoshop. I might go to Clip, but I don't want to change midstream while I'm doing the book. But in reality, I think my Photoshop is old. I have CS4, and I refuse to go on that monthly payment thing, or whatever they call it, the Big Brother campaign. So everybody's got their own way of doing stuff. That's my personal viewpoint, But I would like to do Clip. I heard it's really. I saw it one day. It was like $60 or something. It was something crazy. Like I buy.
Yeah. I mean, you can get it on sale at that price occasionally. Yeah.
It's. I mean, I don't know what. Anyway, I think I'm probably going to end up doing it. The thing is, I just don't know enough about it to go. What are the layers like? If I want to change resolution, all those things you figured out in one program, you kind of want to make sure it's in the other program too.
Tell you what, all the people watching, they're going to laugh at me, and all the future people will know that I'm right. I think Krita is going to end up taking over both. Open source is the way to go.
Yeah.
Just like Blender's starting to take over the 3D space.
Right. Totally. Krita is like a lot like Photoshop, right?
Yeah. And free. That's going to win out. That's going to win out with inflation going.
As long as there's not like strings attached to it, where you go, oh yeah, but you get to look into my computer every day or something, Something.
That's that Adobe method. That's what they're doing.
That is what they're doing, no doubt. I heard something they're going to do, like a thing where there are invisible watermarks in your files. So
it's like printers print a serial number on each page you print. You can't see it, but it's there.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Look at that, spooky.
It's almost like do you know that we're watching what you're doing? It's not like we were born yesterday, right? So I kind of don't know the mentality, why they make it so blatantly Big Brother-ish, right? You're like, lie to us about it or something. So I just don't understand why it's so blatant, Yeah. But,
so what's going on here in this panel here? You have this.
So she runs into these gangs that run the outer rim of the city, and they are sponsored is the wrong word, but they are sponsored by the guild that runs the big larger city. They keep tabs on this is how they keep tabs on every little section. And this is a gang of kids, and they're going to sort of recruit her into their gang. This is part of Mira's process into losing everything. And she's going to hit bottom. And when she hits bottom, that's when she's going to find her mentor.
Now, how many pages is this book?
52.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good length. So yeah, I mean, I guess what's the basic idea of this? We got a rundown world. This girl, seemingly on her own, gets kind of indoctrinated into this gang, and like you said, hits rock bottom.
So the premise of the whole book is that so she's living in the ruins of Detroit in the future.
Oh, cool.
And it's become a total fenced-in totalitarian state. And that guy right there is her mentor. He's been fighting this guild that runs the city for decades, but he's so old and beaten up that he doesn't have the ability to fight that fight anymore. So they're looking for somebody to take the mantle, and he has the technology, but you know, he also doesn't have tons of options either. It's not like there are people in the suburbs you can call up and say, "Hey, you guys want to fight the fight?" Right?
Yeah.
So they find her and they slowly recruit her into this process, and they can't get her to do it until she says, "I'll do it." Right? She has to do it on her own volition. So and this guy at the bottom here is well, he's the main player in the story. He is part of the guild that's in control of the city. And so her goal is to find her family that's lost. They were abducted by the powers that be in the city, and she doesn't know where they are. So that's all she gives a shit about is finding her family. And this guy, all he cares about is taking down the guild. They're the objectives are kind of one and the same, but they don't really know that yet, and she definitely doesn't know that yet. So if you watch the animated movie that's on my YouTube channel, you'll see that her family that she travels with, get an idea of who she is before it all goes bad. Yeah, that's kind of the premise.
It's so cool. This is one of the most original, I think, looking stories coming out of CG, and just the premises as well.
Thanks.
Where did you come up with the idea of SHADOWPUNK?
Dude, it's like in the ether. I was like, I mean, it all started with the animated movie and the trailer I made that you just watched.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's really what it was. I didn't know it was going to be called SHADOWPUNK.
Mm-hmm.
And I had it was all like a slowly, piece by piece. I added it, took things out. I think originally I started with a completely, totally different idea.
Mm-hmm.
But just as you know, when you do something creative, you know, the goal was to come up with something fun and cool, right? Mm-hmm. The goal isn't to stick with the one thing that you swear is your first idea, right? So that's the approach I use. I threw out things I didn't like, and it really got focused down to her and her story, because I think it's a challenge in anything like movies or anything is how do you make it compelling for people to watch? And I think one of those ways, among others, is for the viewer to relate to the main character, right? Yeah, sure. She's the hero of the story, but in reality, the viewer, the reader is actually the hero too. They're going to go through the process with her, and they're going to feel like they've made leaps and bounds as she makes leaps and bounds, or when she gets kicked back, right? So yeah, it's hard to say where it all began, but yeah.
I like your mode of thinking on all this stuff. It's kind of how I think.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, like once you start pulling from the ether, you know, it kind of it leads you, you know.
You know,
right? Yeah, you'll learn from the story as you're creating it, and you're totally right. You know, a large part that makes stories so compelling. I think one of the most important part is the theme and how us as humans connect to these characters, and whether that makes them more complex, and a lot of that, you know, aspect I could see here is her motivation to find her family, because that's something that everyone's dealt with. You have loved ones that you are your family, and that's kind of a simple way of putting that heart into a story, you know.
Totally. That's what it is. You know, I'm not a writer. I'm a visual artist, right? So I had to break it down to those basic things you just talked about, and then go, okay, how do I'm not Shakespeare. I'm not going to be able to like make up the verbiage and yeah, but I can break it down and come up with cool themes, right? Mm-hmm. I think the writing process for me was a little slower because I'm not trained at all to be a writer. So I had to really take my time and go and actually rewrote the story at least once, if not more. And, you know, I had to have that patience where I go, you know, this is good, but I think now that I got this under my belt, I think I could do it better.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the factors that make it better for the reader? What's the reader going to enjoy more? And so I had to go back and rewrite it. And my way of rewriting it is to like type out 20 different ideas.
Yeah.
And then go, this, I like that and that. Those two fit, I mean, I think people who are like trained writers, they think of this stuff all the time. So like when they go to the grocery store, they have ideas popping in their head, kind of like I do when I'm like visually, I do that stuff.
Yeah.
Problem solving, or when you're watching TV, something clicks about that problem you're trying to solve. So
I always
yeah,
have trouble falling asleep. Once I start thinking about something like visually, it's 2 hours I'm laying there. I gotta turn the TV on to take my mind off of what I'm thinking about.
Really? Yeah.
relax your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me as a writer, like it could be hard to focus in on one story, right? Because I'll see something and be like, oh, this could work for that other story that I'm working on, right? And then I'll get in the groove of working on that. And then I'll see something else that is for a different comic. And then I'll be like really high on working on that character or something. So that could be a bit distracting from one or the other. But when I saw Shadowpunk, and even just when I saw you on, I think it was the first time I saw you was on Twitter, and your username just stood out at me. I'm like, oh, Shadowpunk, that's freaking awesome. And at the time too, which I'm still doing, I'm working on a cyberpunk story, and it was right when I started that. And
Cool.
That's so cool. And I'm a huge fan of the Shadow, which is funny. But and then I saw the animation, and I'm like, gee, this looks like old school to me, like Nickelodeon animation from when they were doing that Jimmy Neutron stuff, because it kind of reminded me that it had that 3D.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, I'm like, oh, this is really cool. This is going to be a freaking comic, and she's shooting out these weird ninja star things. Everything is just so unique to me and really rad. So
Thanks,
I'm
man.
excited to see where this goes.
When I watched it right before we got on, I immediately got jealous. I'm like, this guy's doing all this shit. It pissed me off.
Okay. That's crazy. Well, I'll tell you, man, it's one of the cool things about the story over time, like following issues, that the armor is going to change.
Oh, cool.
The style will be the same, but she'll have more shit that she can do. And part of the reason because of that is because it's not going to go well. Right? And she's just a kid. She's not like a grown man or something. She's, she's one hit, right? She's fucked up, right? So she's going to need tools to help her with this process.
So she's constantly cobbling it together. Is that what you're saying?
Well, her mentor is, right? Yeah. He's going to say, and so that's going to be a fun part, because I wanted her to be able to have limits, but also to have options, right? Because so it's it's like the more you get into stuff, anything like this, the ideas are like you can just do tons of stuff, right? You can come up with cool shit, crazy fucking scenarios. The book is, I would probably say the book is PG-13, but once in a while there's going to be these spots of pure violence.
Yeah.
Right. And it is what it is. I think that's probably who I am, right? I'm a low-key person, but I like intense things once in a while. I'm, watching movies, you're like, oh, that's fucking crazy, and I appreciate that when I see that kind of stuff. So
how old is she?
She's 10.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, and by the way, it's a trick with these stories. Is she eternally 10? Right? Is he like Peter Parker, right? Or does Peter Parker get older and get a job?
Right.
Right. And so she will probably end up growing slow, I think is my thing. Right. Mm-hmm. Because the dynamic, as long as the dynamic works and people like to read the stories, I'll continue to do it at a certain age. But it is, change is a cool factor too in these stories, So
Tommy, you're gonna give Shelby in the chat an aneurysm for using that pink eraser on your back of your pencil. He says, "Don't use the pink eraser." So if you guys are just tuning in, we got 20 people in the chat. Thank you guys for stopping by. We're here talking SHADOWPUNK. We got Tommy drawing the character. And if you guys haven't yet, Sumo just dropped the link. Definitely go over to the campaign, check it out, grab a copy of the book. And there's a bunch of other stuff on there, too, that you guys can grab. Let's go take a look at that over here.
So I've shipped out a bunch of figures that I made since we launched. And I built like a way to ship them as safe as I can.
Yeah.
So I ship them inside of like a plastic, food container.
Yeah.
And she's surrounded by bubble wrap inside the food. And then I put her in a box. And then I have wrapping paper inside the box.
Yeah.
So my concern was I didn't want anything to break on when it traveled.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I sent one to one person early, way before I launched. And one of them broke, and I was like, I got to do better in shipping these things. So, and then I came up with this approach as far as painting them, because some people like to paint their own miniatures, which is totally cool.
Right.
I can't wait to see what people come up with, right? But I wanted to come up with a cool way to bring all the detail out of my sculpts and still make it feel like the book. So the silver, I think, is it has a nice depth, richness to it, and it matches my duotone kind of quality of the book of blue and red, you know.
And it makes all of the kind of like shadowed parts pop as well. So like the low lights on here, it really and like the knee pads and stuff like that really pops, and then that red jumps out too. It's really cool. That
the metallic paint that you buy, like, so to get that effect, I dry brush it on in slow stages. So, but the problem is when you're painting that, the paint dries up in the tray like 10 seconds, 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of alcohol in it or whatever.
Say what?
A lot of thinner in it or something.
That's not. I mean, you mean instead of water?
Yeah,
in the paint, there's probably like high alcohol content.
Yeah.
Really? I like that idea. Because I'm going through a lot of it like crazy. I'm like, dude, just fucking stay wet for a second, you know? And the trick is when you do dry brushing is that you need it super dry. Like you're almost dusting on the paint, right? To get the nice smooth effect. It's, you know, it works, but it's just a little slow process. But so I never did any 3D printing before I did this. This was my first character I've done, actually printed myself.
Yeah. And
I was like, because I was figuring out how am I going to, they're really expensive to have somebody else print it for you, right? And at the time, like, you know, so, and I'm going to have control and of quality control over them. So it was a huge learning curve. I don't know about you, but it was, for me, it was like, I had a ton of failed prints, you know, trying to figure out how things work. So now I figured it out, fingers crossed, right?
Sure.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite images that I made.
Really cool, like promo thing. Is this going to be like a chapter break, or is this just for promotional?
That was just for promotional. I did a lot of promotional pieces last year for it.
Yeah.
Before I got into the book, and I do have stretch goals, and they might be included in some of the stretch goals. I don't think I'm going to get to them because I'm not raising that much money, but I would like to do like a poster of this.
That'd be awesome.
You know, if I was like really lucky, I would like to do those metallic prints.
Yeah, that'd be crazy with this.
This campaign's like 9 days in.
True. Yeah, true. It's 9 days in.
I think you'll gain some steam because it looks too fucking good to not. Seriously.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah. Once you get more streams lined up, we were on Mandy's together, right? That's like A great stream. See, hit up Irene too. She has great streams. I know she just got back from a convention, but I think she
Irene?
has style. Yeah, Rini draws. She does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Fiendish.
Yeah. Okay, that does sound super familiar. I'm sure I know her.
Yeah, she's awesome. She does that book Fiendish. But yeah, this I think
Fiendish.
you would dig this stuff. This reminds me here of I don't know if you're familiar, but in I think it was the first Batman Arkham Asylum game where there's a level where Scarecrow puts fear toxin in you, he injects it into you, and then you have to fight him, and he's like huge, and you have to swing around him and climb like all this rubble, and he's like smashing down. It's really cool.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'll tell you, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm working on stuff like halfway through this, I was like, this fucking sucks. I got the wrong. This is the wrong piece I should be working on. Mm-hmm. I got to start over. But there's this process where you go, if you stick it out, and you start to figure out why things work and why they don't work, right? And you know, I don't know if you can tell but there's like you're looking through like a doorway.
Yeah.
Right. So that was a really nice dimensional factor involved because it's like a layer of that the viewer gets of like a peek of, you know, and then everything sort of started to fall in place. The lighting started to work because it's centered around that building, you know, that is the building that's going to be important in the story. And
this figure, the gigantic figure, that's a character we'll see in this book.
You'll see him. Well, very little.
Yeah.
Right. It's like the Emperor. You know, you don't see him until like you watch Jedi, right?
Right.
But you feel the presence of this guy and the nature of what's going on in the city.
Yeah. Let's see. We got Gordon Goodbrother in the chat. What's up? Genuine Comics is here. How's it going, Dave? And Vengeance Productions.
Vengeance.
What's up, guys? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. And hit that like button. You're talking about SHADOWPUNK.
So that's her mentor right there, that guy.
That's right. The mentor. The mole?
The mole.
Nice.
So he's super cool. And when I originally started, I don't know if I've told this story before, but when I originally started coming up with how, if you watch the trailer, the guy in the beginning isn't a black guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's got, he looks different, right? But it became so clear to me that this is based in Detroit and that it'd be so freaking cool if it was a black guy. This guy's like a Renaissance man. And that's why he has access to all this technology, because he figured it out on his own, right? He couldn't fight the big system with rocks, right? He needs real shit. So I was like, it's one of those things where you're working on stuff and you're like, you're working on this character, working on that character, and then at one point I'm like, that fucking works. That guy is cool.
That's the best when it's like you have these epiphanies and ideas, and it's like, oh, I have to tell someone about this. You know?
Totally.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes people are like, oh, yeah, that's kind of cool. But you're like, no, I worked so hard on it. It's super cool, right? Don't you get it? You know, and it's like, well, you didn't cure cancer, so it's not that cool. I'm like, well, true, that is true. I did not do that. But you know, for us as creative people, that's how it is, right?
For sure.
You come with your ideas, and it's like you say, I'm going to do this promotional thing that's going to be like this, and it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's fucking super cool. You know, and having initiative in life is also a big, big thing. Let's face it, right? I mean, you and your brother are like, I think I mentioned it in a post I put after talking to you guys. You guys are like the Stan Lees of CG.
Thanks, man.
You guys have all the energy. If he came back and said, these are the guys, right? Because you guys have come up with cool ideas, right? And you're always going into the next one.
We're trying. There's, always going to be hiccups and stuff, but always I'll have to push forward. The thing that I love about creating comics and being in CG is for me and my brother, there's always a goal. There's always something that we're working towards, that being a campaign, getting to the end of the campaign, getting to fulfillment, working on the new project, launching something. So there's always something to do.
Right.
And that's, if it wasn't this, I don't know what it would be. I think that's really a productive thing that people should really have in their life. Have these goals and creative goals.
Well,
I get a lot of fulfillment off that.
It's challenging because to do that, you have to have initiative in life. A lot of people, and I'm sure I was like this because I could be. I wanted to just go in, do my work, and get out. Right?
Yeah.
And you if you're going to be a creative person, you can't do that. Right? You're in it 100%, like you guys are, but it's so. I imagine your brain's always going. Right?
Yeah.
You guys are always coming up with different ideas, which is actually really cool because everything changes all the time. Why not have, instead of doing one thing, why not do things all the time?
Yeah, what do you think? If it wasn't for this, I'd be doing crack.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which we don't want.
Which is not good.
More of it.
Yeah, more crack. No, if I didn't have this thing, I'd just be working and then, not seeing any progress with anything.
You seem like you're a mindset guy. You into the mindset stuff?
I don't know what you're talking about. This is some cult thing you're talking about, Tommy?
No. Jesus. Never mind. Hey guys, carry on.
Well, the thing about the mindset is that even if you're not consciously doing it, you have to do it. Right? If you're going to sit down and draw something and make it look really cool, you do have to have this kind of mindset. Right? Even if you go into autopilot when you draw and just creatively zone out and do cool stuff, that's still, so let me ask you, so do you do 3D printing or does your brother do the 3D printing?
My brother does all the 3D printing.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long has he done that?
So we started with the filament printer, right? So it's different because it just prints that plastic line, right?
Right.
And so that was the first one we got at work. And oh man, I don't know if it's handy, but I have the first thing we 3D printed on that was Hellboy's gun from the movie.
Oh, cool.
And so it's a life-size replica, and it printed in like 6 different pieces that we had to fuse together, and it works. The breech loads, the barrel falls down, the cylinder spins. We 3D printed the cartridges that go into the cylinder.
That's crazy.
I used that for a costume that I did, and that was awesome. But yeah, so that was all filament printed. And then I want to say maybe a year ago or a little bit longer, we got the SLS or SLA printer, whatever it is, that print the resin printer. The
resin printer.
Okay. So yeah, so he's been working with the program. It uses, I think it's the same program he uses to print both from. And the reason we got those is because we print for our job. We print Godzilla kits and statues for this
really?
Side business. Yeah. So my boss is getting into that. So yeah.
So the cool thing about the printing, I'm sure you guys ran into this, where you're like, okay, wait a second. We just printed that thing and it's in your hand. Mm-hmm. Right? And it's like, now you can actually you're like, okay, what are the possibilities here? Right? I mean, now you can create any product that you want, attach it to your book, and get that to backers, right? And I think that's totally awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, we've printed stuff we've needed for cabinets, for arcade parts, for us that have come in handy. Little, doohickeys for potentiometers that have gone bad for driving games and stuff like that.
Wow.
And like, you could print anything. Like, for our set on Fridays, we have our Diaz Brothers show, which has a set, and there's a big curtain behind us that's covering a mirror. And my brother just went into the program and made these just like basically wall hooks that we printed. so the curtain would stay up, and you just screwed them into the wall. And so like you can literally just do anything with them, which is really, really, especially simple stuff like that.
You know, when I launched, I had I made my glasses.
Oh, yeah.
I could not find these spikes anywhere. Right, and that doesn't sound logical, but I really could not find them anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to 3D. You know, super simple, right? But I had to 3D print them, and I was like, you know, I'm done. Like I don't have to go from store to store looking for them. And you know, yeah, it costs more because I used the material, but fuck it, it's done.
These promo shots are so cool. Like they're so eye-catching.
Thanks.
And lots of motion in them, action-packed. And another thing is I like that the hero of the story doesn't look like your normal hero in a comic book. Still looks cool.
That's interesting. I wish I could say I planned that, but it was just my unique point of view, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know, I made a couple images that I've never put out because they didn't come out well, and they were like valuable into going like, why didn't that work, right? And so by the time I get to making something like this, I kind of figured out some approaches I could use. Motion is a big deal. I love that, and I love color, right?
Yeah.
Using color in a certain way to focus people. I am gonna, when I do the book, when I color the book, some of my pages are a little bit dark, so I am gonna lighten them up so that they don't print too dark, right?
Have you done any test prints on it yet?
I have not, but I mean, yeah, it would be good. I would like give them a couple pages as a print, because I want to make sure that I don't mind having things dark, but I don't want things to be too dark in a way that I didn't plan.
Yeah.
Right. Like the background here is dark, especially not the bottom, which is okay because it separates her from the background.
You don't want your red to kill your black.
I definitely don't want that. So, yeah, totally.
J. Ryan says, Tommy, you were just here to draw pretty things. Just accept it.
I've accepted it. And I'll
don't accept it. Fight it.
Look at this.
Pretty awesome.
Look at that pose. Tommy's all about those poses, man. I'm going to look for my gun.
I love it.
Don't do it, Phill. Don't do it.
I'm looking for the gun. It's got to be somewhere here.
Hey, I got to get a copy of your drawing if you post it or something.
Joe Sontag, I got to mail out this. I got to mail out the Tiger Blue.
Oh, yeah.
I got to mail out the Tiger Blue when I did. I could get all three. I need to quit being a lazy bum.
Well, that looks awesome. You know, can I say whose style you remind me of?
Who did?
A guy named Nick Bradshaw.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
You know who he is?
Yeah, the Art Adams influenced guy.
Yeah. It looks fucking great, man.
Thank you.
I try to draw like that.
I think you're doing all right with what you're doing, man. So what do you do? You don't have to tell me where you work, but what's your day job? Obviously, you're doing some production stuff of some kind to be able to have all these skills. That's what I meant by being jealous. I'm like, because I've been trying to learn Blender over the last year and all that, and I keep, I'll get like 3 weeks into it, and then something happens, and when I go back, I got to relearn it because I don't get far enough to be able to like really fly around and build my own shit, and that because I don't create any muscle memory, right? But that's my goal. I want to before the end of the year. I'd like to be able to do that.
So my background is in like post-production, 3D and 2D animation. I don't do that stuff anymore. I'm just doing the book right now full time. But for a decade or more, that's all I did was computer graphics. So
do you freelance that stuff still though?
I do, but it's hard. If I started freelancing a lot,
It's going to take time away from this.
It would snowball, yeah. And so I'm people like my sculpts, so I'm gonna actually end up selling some of my printed sculpts when I get my printer.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do like right now I'm working on a really cool Batman sculpt. So hopefully people will dig that one. And I'm gonna print it pretty big too, so that it'll be something people can literally put on their desk.
Can't find it, guys.
It's okay, Phil.
I'm sorry.
The world's come to an end. But yeah, so if you want to learn like the Blender or something, I know you've been learning like the basics. I would give yourself a task, right? Pick a character.
That's what I read. See, I keep like the longest time I've had the analysis paralysis, like constantly looking up the best way to learn it and starting 2 or 3 different courses. And
Gordon wants to know, is Tommy on social media? Where can I find him?
I'm on Twitter, Tommy the Comic Guy.
Yeah, you should put that as your nameplate instead of your YouTube channel. Also, follow him on YouTube, Reclaiming the Archetypes. It's his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Which
cool.
He'll be
I don't
streaming.
I don't want to stop drawing or I'd do it right now. But
I'll type it in the chat. Oh yeah, there you go. Tommy is on Twitter, Tommy the Comic Guy. There you go.
Cool.
Follow him. He'll be posting this later. And you'll be streaming every day this week. Is that what you said?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I know you're like kind of joking, trying to make fun of me in front of the millions watching around the world.
Right, sure.
Yeah, no, I'm streaming every day.
Good.
Yeah, I would maybe like do something like make like a model like a really rough version of the Hulk or whoever you like, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, I kind of there's a ship in the book I'm drawing. I kind of want to.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's going to be the way to go then. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because there's no way to learn it except by doing it.
Yeah.
Jump in and then, but you already know anatomy, and you already know like how to do. What I found out when I started doing 3D sculpting is I could do it. The technical side I had to learn, but the artistic side you already know.
Right.
So
Here you go. We got a stat in the chat. Statistical zero says pencil and paper. It's comforting to do something that someone 100 years ago was doing. The more things change, the more they stay the same. That's why I try to have sex every night. You know, you do stuff that people 100 years did.
Do it, man. Do it.
No. What do you think, Tommy?
I love sex.
There you go.
Good stuff.
So here it is, SHADOWPUNK. I love the helmet. That's so cool. I want to see the upgrades. I'm excited to see how the character is going to change.
I like the character has all this stuff, and it's still not cluttered.
Yeah,
that is true. As a designer, I'm a little bit of a minimalist. So I had to force myself to put more in there, right? One of the ways, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I kind of looked at Cyberfrog and I go, what makes that character really compelling, right?
Yeah.
He can bend all these different ways, and everything is chrome or steel, so it looks like on the page it looks super dynamic every pose, right? The fingers are long, so
right.
I kind of had to. Because I can tell that Ethan thought it out pretty good. And didn't he design it a long time ago and then revamped it later on?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always like a good sign to me that you've worked out like the most effective way to do it, right?
For sure. Now, when I saw this character and the wings specifically, how the wings are metal and how they open up and stuff, this is the first thought that jumped into my head, and you let me know what you think about this. Check it out. This thing, vegetable steamer.
I would. It's not far from the truth because it has to function somehow.
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's a simple like apparatus or device someone made up, but the principles are similar, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Someone.
so
What
one of the
about
things about
butterfly?
Well, I wasn't gonna say it out loud. But when you do things in 3D, they have to literally function, right?
Right.
They can't, and so like when you do something in 2D, which is one of the cool things about 2D, let's face it, right? You can draw the hand as big as you fucking want, and you can have, you can have the teeth way big in this panel, and the teeth kind of more normal in the other panel, right? To get your point across. And so in 3D, you can't really do that because it's a physical world, right? So when I was designing the character, I had to come up with ways that it literally physically functioned.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes in comics, you don't have to do that because it's comics, right? They're just
brother. Let me tell you, these shoulder pads that I've been drawing, very, very hard to make functional from different angles and fighting and stuff.
In what in like a book you're working on right now?
No, just in general, the whole shoulder pad thing,
Well, how about this?
A bit of a 90s aesthetic.
I think John showed the character off once on stream, but a character I created for Graveyard Shift, his name's Razor Wing, and he's supposed to be a what would you call it? So he's kind of like a mix between a giant vampire, like kind of like Man-Bat and Archangel. So he had these like metal wings, but they're connected to his arms, right? And that like wouldn't work because unless it's like a flexible metal or something. But Tommy drew it.
Totally.
It looks badass in the comic. Tommy, made it work and drew it.
That's a cool name, by the way.
Razor Wing. Thanks. Yeah, that was fun.
That's part of the problem with that's the beauty of comic books, that you don't have to be stuck in a literal world, right? Because that you limit your options at that point. So I try to think in terms of logic. How does this function? Because I think that one day the characters might go, how does that lightsaber work? And then you come up with a thing about kyber crystals or something, right? It's that, how does their backpack work? One guy on the show asked me, he's like, what is that? How does this thing work? And I had an answer for him, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, it's fun, I think, for the reader to go, I never even wondered about it. How does this fucking work? You know, and the answers are there for them. What's her goggles? What's going on with the goggles? Right? Are they just cosmetic, or do they have a function? And they have a function. So,
Stat says sometimes it's better if it can't work in real life.
Yes.
Gordon says Razor Wing is better than Hot Wing. I agree.
Definitely.
You'll see him in Graveyard Shift. What do you think of that character, Razor Wing? The name of the character, John or Tommy?
I didn't think about it, but I could make up something. I loved it.
What did he look like?
He's so
Archangel. If Archangel was into Iron Maiden,
he was like a giant vampire bat, but a cyborg. So he's like a cyber vampire. He's got big metal teeth, and he looks like a genetically fused kind of anthropomorphic man bat with the armor and metal wings. He shoots barbs out of his arms.
Oh.
Pretty badass.
So do you did that for John?
Yeah, I basically came up with that, like the description, the name of him. John did the concept for the character, and then Tommy drew him.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, he's got a cool fight scene in there.
So did John he figured out, I'm gonna just I want something out of my realm of, I want an out of left field idea, and I want you to come up with it.
So he asked me if I wanted to pitch an idea for a story for the supplemental book. And before Tommy and I worked on this story, Mark and him would basically give plots to writers for the supplemental material. So he's like, here's a rough plot, go write this.
Okay.
But for us, I don't know if They wanted something more inspired, but he's like, just pitch something to us and you come up with everything in there. And so I did. I asked him if I could create a character, and he said he'd rather me not, but I did anyways.
Okay.
Like 2 characters, the main villain and Razorwing, and then
Feels
yeah, I tried to make them as even more X-Men than Graveyard Shift was already, So give them some cool powers and cool looks and stuff.
Well, so in the end, though, John said, "I like that."
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, you sold it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm sure they'll use that character in the future again. We'll see.
I was online one day and I was watching the conversation, a thread, and these people were talking about how this character is a dumb character or whatever they're talking about. And I was like, that you might be right. But the truth is, I don't know how you know that. How do you know that like one idea will work and one idea won't work?
Yeah.
And I've come to realize that because, most people were like this, right? We only see this is our imagination is this thing right here. But there's a whole 360 that other people want.
Right.
Well, just look at what Alan Moore did with those goofy Carlton characters,
No doubt about it, man. Alan Moore's insane. Right. I just think, look at how he created how he warped those characters into something so cool. And every single character fit their niche, right? And you related to them, like you related to Rorschach in a way because he's true, right? Mm-hmm. And you related to the. I always have this. You guys tell me, okay? I think my opinion's in the minority here, but when I was growing up, I always thought that the comedian was a super smart guy, not as smart as like Ozymandias or something like that, but he's super freaking smart. But then he said, "Screw it, the world's fucked up. I'm not gonna." So when they played him in the movie, he was more of like a smart, normal guy, right? And I thought he was more of a genius, and maybe he wasn't, but his perception of the world was like the guy from Apocalypse Now at the end, Colonel Kurtz, right?
Yeah. The comedian's basically like, what's the point, of all this if the world's going to be this shitty? I mean, he's ultimately very cynical, but he's good at what he does, and he's going to do, like, that's what he knows. That's what he knows what to do. He knows, and that's all he knows. I love the fact that the comedian, when they were designing the character, they had the name, right? And Dave Gibbons was like, well, how do we portray that this guy, how do we link his name to the look of his character? You can't do a clown because that's the Joker. And then what do you also get, or what's some iconic forms of a comedian? And so he gave him Groucho Marx's mustache and cigar. And that's the connection, Groucho Marx to the comedian. He's got the mustache, he's got the big cigar. And that was his connection to the comedian, which I thought was genius.
That, the thing that always still mystifies me is they gave him like an S&M mask.
Yeah.
Like the Gimp or something from Pulp Fiction. You're like, I mean, first of all, that's fucked up. That works because that's fucked up, right? Like Michael Myers or something. It just works. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we never saw that in the movie though. He never wore it. It was always in his closet. But they never.
Right.
But you were talking about like maybe when we're creating, sometimes we don't know if an idea is good or bad because we have these blinders on and we're very hyper focused on things. You don't see that in stuff like from the East, from like Japan, like manga stuff, like Chainsaw Man. That's outlandish, right? It's crazy. It's this guy who has a chainsaw for a head and arms.
Okay.
Or like
mix a jaguar with a lampshade, and they're like, cool.
Yeah. Or like this guy. So this book's called No Guns Life, and he's a guy who has a revolver for a head.
Wow.
And he looks badass. They made it into something cool.
That's really cool.
You know, I think most any idea filtered through a really creative person could be something cool.
Hang in there, guys. I got like 5 more minutes, and then I'll go scan it. All right.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. But it's easier said than done. I mean, I don't think that I live in a way that I limit my options, but you know that you do anyway, right?
Yeah.
So would I have come up with chainsaw head or a guy with a chainsaw? I don't think I would do that.
Mm-hmm.
But now that you say it, it's like, what else can you do, right? Seriously, it's like just being exposed to it is like enough to open up a little corner, right? Breathe some fresh air.
Right. Yeah, and it's super ultra violent and stuff too, which is really cool. We got Tarks X in the chat. It says SHADOWPUNK is going to be awesome. It's a little okay there. We got Stats taken off. Good to see you, Stat. Thanks for hanging out. Luke is here hanging out. We're here talking about one of the newest books to grace Indiegogo, and that is SHADOWPUNK. We got Tommy drawn the character. We got the creator on here talking about this awesome book, super original, one of the most original looking books, ideas as well. Looks like there's very much a story arc to this, and that it's going somewhere. So is this going to be an ongoing series? How much longer do you think this is going to go on? And because you talked about the character upgrading the look to the character. Does that happen in this book, or is that going to happen in the future?
Yeah, definitely. I would like to do more issues if I can afford to do it.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to say about the campaign, if you scroll down a little bit, you look at the t-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the t-shirt with the logo on it, that thing turns into a flying backpack if you push the right button.
Yeah,
it does. I wasn't going to try to tell people before I sold them, but
that's the Easter egg, guys. You got to get this then. Only $25. And no, but the cool thing about this is you're shipping them now, right?
Yes, which is super cool. I was excited to fulfill half the figures and the t-shirts. Yeah, totally. People already have stuff in their hands, and which is really cool,
I think that's the first time I've heard about someone doing that. You just launched, people are buying the shirts, you're fulfilling the shirts now, and that kind of sends out a really good sense of goodwill towards the backer that you're going to be fulfilling this stuff later. I think that's really a good idea for people to maybe get into with these figurines. And here's the figurines too. Look at that.
When I after I launched, people contacted me and said, "Hey, you can do things on Indiegogo in a different way and sell more stuff." Super cool ideas, right? So I'm an artist, right? When I got on the Indiegogo website to figure this stuff out, it was very clunky for me.
Yeah,
and it was almost like a house of cards where I had everything all set up. You don't tell me to change it because it'll, right? Yeah. And that's just so. I listened to all the advice that people give me. And I did. One guy said, "Why don't you have one where you sell 2 copies of the comic book together?"
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I wanted to have more than one because I could give one away. I was like, "Hey, I didn't think anybody ever would do that. That's cool, right?" Yeah. I mean, and I didn't realize the Indiegogo doesn't have an add to cart number type thing where you go, "I want 3 of these, 4 of these, or whatever." They don't have that, which is so nonsensical.
Yeah, you have to have it as like an add-on to the perk. So I don't know. Do you have add-ons on your campaign? Have you done those yet?
No, I saw them in there, and that was the advice that I got. It was like, do add-ons, and you can do this. And
it's a separate perk type that you just add to the main perks. You just like attach them. So when you do click on a perk, it'll take you to your checkout, and right before checkout, it'll have a list of all your add-ons you can click.
Wow. Okay. So, I People got the shirts. I have 2 different shirts, and one of them is the logo, one of them is the artwork, and a couple people have gotten the artwork one. You know, it should, like I said before, it's so cool that people like your artwork. That thing right there is my card. That's my for the first day backers. They're gonna get that red Phill card. Yeah, and it's just so cool feeling that your artwork finally gets out there. You know.
Oh, for sure, man. Yeah, when people get their hands on the book, that's going to be even cooler. You know, when they're flipping through it, and doing reviews and stuff, that's going to be sick.
So right now I'm working all day on the book, and then at night, I shouldn't say that. In the morning, like from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., I'm working on a new sculpt of a character that I want to print with my printer and sell, which is going to be fucking off, totally cool. And then the rest of the day, all I'm doing is this comic book. Awesome. So, yeah.
That's so cool.
1 hour a day is what I told myself I would commit to as far as my sculpt. So,
are you in the U.S. or are you in Canada?
No, I'm in Michigan.
Oh, are you close to Canada?
Pretty close. I mean, I could drive. I could drive there over the bridge. Yeah.
So the reason I asked is because your voice reminds me of Todd McFarlane's voice.
Really? Is he Canadian?
I think if you practice, you'd do a good McFarlane impression.
I'm Todd McFarlane. I made Spawn.
There you go.
Right?
You made Spawn, bud.
Yeah, come on, just let me over the border. What are you talking about? I forgot my passport. Spawn, you remember Spawn?
Am I wrong, Tommy? He sounds like McFarlane.
I think
Tommy, help me out here. Come on.
Phill, you're crazy. He sounds nothing like him.
All right. Look at this.
So Todd McFarlane had. Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Look at that.
Dude, that's awesome.
That's so
cool. Zoom in a little here.
I didn't even see you get the details, like the rendering on the wings. That looks great.
I love how the wings on one side go down and the other ones go up.
Yeah, it's so cool.
I had to fit it on the page. Yeah, it was. If you go back and watch the video, you'll see that I actually curved them down, and it didn't look right. It looked stupid, so I curved them up.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's like a spiral. It's like spinning. She's got like fan blades on the back of her back.
Yes. So the wings are one of the things in the future will be that the wings they are weapon-esque. They're not just going to be for flying. Yeah.
That's a good idea. Replicant says, "Damn, bro." I think he's talking about the McFarlane voice. Yeah. See.
Yeah. Oh, bro.
Yeah, everybody's digging the art. This is sweet. Everybody go check out SHADOWPUNK. It is live right now. Let's see. He's got 21 days left.
Thank you.
Spread the word and follow Tommy. Yeah, look at this. Looking good, Tommy. Everybody's
looks
digging
awesome.
And you guys, if you backed Graveyard Shift 4, you can see Tommy's art in the supplemental. I think it's gonna knock some socks off, that whole story. It's, I think, one of my best stories I've ever written.
If you can't afford new socks right now, don't look at the book.
Yeah, you're gonna ruin those socks if you read that book. But make sure you got a fresh pair. Grab it, and if you haven't, hopefully he'll have it available again in the future because it's gonna be kick-ass. That's crisp.
Can you post that image somewhere so I can grab it on Twitter?
Yeah.
I'll do it now.
Thank you, man. That's freaking cool.
Yeah. What about us here? He says, "Never ruin a good pair of socks. Let Phill do that." I'll do it. Don't tempt me with a good time. Gordon, I don't think anyone will take a comparison to Todd McFarlane as a compliment unless it's art or bank account related.
Unless it's true.
His wife's good looking. You know,
he has a little bit of a chalky voice, and I have a little bit of a chalky voice, right? Yeah. And it's not deep. I don't have a deep voice either, and he doesn't either. So those two factors alone make you sound similar.
Yeah, I think I would compare your voices to the chalkiness of a Necco wafer. Remember those?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
All right, we've been on for a while, guys. Head on over go get yourself a copy of SHADOWPUNK, this amazing art and coloring. Grab a shirt as well, and he's got these little minifigs too. Go get those little 3D printed statues of the character. This is a start of something that is new, fresh, original, and it could be really big in the future. If you guys make it happen, spread the word. If you guys are digging what you're seeing, and if you haven't yet, we also have a book coming out here. Let's see. How do I do this? To make sure I'm not sharing something. There we go. All right. CG Vacation is still live. We have, what is this? 36 hours to go, everybody, for our first 30 days. And we sold the the sketch cards that Dan Dahl did for us earlier. We put out a big update today. We got a sticker once we hit 24K. We're close. We showed off a little bit of Irene's Fiendish piece. As you can see here, Art T. Bear's piece. It's doing black and white, sexy. And some more progress by Dale Keown on the cover there. Look at that.
Wow.
Stuff.
She's near some 80-degree water, a little chilly.
Those sunglasses are just awesome.
Yeah, that's what I said too. Those sunglasses are totally 80s.
Brett the Hitman Hart, yeah.
That's all I noticed, right?
Yeah, for sure. So grab this if you guys haven't yet. I'll probably we'll be streaming tonight on this channel at 9 Central, the Hardline, and then maybe I'll get on. Maybe Malin's going to do a stream tonight, the Post Kings. Maybe I'll be able to get on there, talk about this a little bit more. We're going to be probably doing a big closeout thing tomorrow before we extend the campaign. Hopefully, we'll get Dale on. I know he's working on the cover today, so we'll have some more pencils to show off to you guys. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We had a good amount of viewers here. Steady viewers, good chat interaction. Love it. You guys are the best. What About says glasses and nips. It's a great combo. I agree. Can't argue with that. But until next time, dude, Shadow, thanks for coming on and talking about your book.
Really thank you, guys.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Good looking book.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
It's looking great. Is there anywhere else you have lined up to get on some streams?
I'm going on Joe Sontag.
Oh, good.
And there's a couple. And then there's one at the end of July that I'm going on Red Valkyrie.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm gonna wear my cosplay when I go on there.
Yeah.
Because I know she's probably gonna have her cosplay.
Yeah.
So it's gonna look crazy. So
that's gonna be awesome. Follow SHADOWPUNK, guys, and Tommy as well. And if you guys get any of your graveyard shift packages in the mail, definitely be sure to tweet about it, tag us in it, let us know what you think of our story, because I can't wait to hear what you guys think. There's a lot of big moments in there that I think are going to knock people's socks off. Tommy, you're going to be streaming this week, you say?
Yeah, I'm going to be streaming a lot. It's the countdown to the countdown. I've mentioned it before, but I think on the 4th, I'm going to start campaigning for my campaign launch, which will be a year from now. So it's going to go from July 4th to July 4th.
That's good.
I'm gonna slowly build the momentum. I'm going to show every fucking thing I do, right? So today, since we're doing this, I'm not streaming, but tomorrow I think I'm going to hop on and work on the logo for a couple hours. I hadn't even started that, so I'll be in Adobe Illustrator and doing that, and people can join in the chat and yell and bitch at me to no, that one or this one or whatever, So
Sumo Thori's in the chat. He's a big, he loves original art, and he wants to know when the next original art piece for CG Vacation is going up. You want to show him a sneak of what you got for your Tommy's doing a graveyard shift piece for CG Vacation, and since it's for our book, I don't mind about spoilers. John Malin's really strict about this.
Oh my, huge.
Yeah, it's a double page spread. Look at this.
Let me give me 2 seconds. Yeah.
Martyr Art is here. What's up, Martyr? immediately after this? No, he'll be streaming tomorrow. Look at
Yeah,
that.
tomorrow.
Oh wow, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, hot babes, guns, and giant monsters.
Yes.
I mean, that is the secret sauce.
Tentacles. Sumo says tentacles. Look at this guy.
I'm gonna have so much water and detail in this thing. It's gonna be crazy. I'm gonna put a bunch of like little crabs crawling up and around here. Obviously, more tentacles. These tentacles. I mean, they got suction cups. I think I'm gonna put some like scaly blades on them. You know, like
Cool.
segmented. I don't know. I'm just gonna draw it and try to make it look cool. It was originally gonna be a boring ass squid or octopus, but then I was like, let's dope it up.
Yeah, make it dope, brother. That looks
Awesome.
dope.
Let's
So
put some
cool.
bacon bits in it.
They're liking it. The people like it. All right, guys. Thanks for coming on. We'll see you all tonight on the show, and find another stream. If not, go eat some tacos. All right, everybody.
Thanks, Sumo.
See ya.
See you.